All right, today is the day. My first ride on real flat pedals with real shoes. So I have the 510 Freerider shoes. I haven't even worn these before. And also put the Race Face Effects on my Trance. So thanks again to the subscriber who sent me those pedals to use for a while. So I'm gonna head out, and obviously I can't come to really any conclusions after one ride. But the last ride I did on flat pedals were on some pretty pathetic ones, especially after getting comments back from people who rode flat pedals. They only had a couple pins, and tennis shoes were all I had for that ride. So this begins my flat pedal challenge as far as my actual riding. I'm looking forward to this. I'm just going to kind of give my thoughts after the first ride. So I'm not going to come to any conclusions. Like I said, I'll do that after a couple months of riding the flat pedals on the Trance. Before I hit the trail, I want to say one thing coming from a rider who rides clipless pedals. People say this all the time. In the industry, pedals that you click into are called clipless for the reason that back in the day we used to use toe clips that went over our shoes, cinch them down, and when clipless pedals came out, you didn't have to use the toe clips anymore because you could just lock in without using your hands. That's why they're called clipless. I didn't make up the name, it's just the way they're called in the industry. So with that, let's go hit the trails, and I'll see what the real flat pedals and shoes feel like coming from someone who predominantly rides clipless pedals, and I've been doing that for over 25 years. So what I notice with these shoes and pedal combination is your foot really is firmly fixed to these pedals, so much better than the crappy pedals I used before. There's a snake. Watch out, there's a snake right there. It's harmless though. But the thing that I notice is I've really got to concentrate on where my foot is on the pedal. That's something you don't have to do with clipless. You just clip in and you don't have to even think about it. So after the first couple minutes of riding, those are my first observations. But yeah, once I put my foot firmly on this pedal, my foot doesn't twist, and that's the problem I had with tennis shoes and crappy pedals, is my foot could still twist. I can't twist my foot at all pushing down on these pedals. All right, I'm gonna continue my ride and kind of give some more thoughts as I get into it. So I'm climbing with the flat pedals, and climbing feels fine on these. Like I don't miss clipless on climbs at all. I don't feel like seated climbs have a big, you know, one doesn't have an advantage too much over the other. It's when you get out of the saddle and kind of crank real hard, and you know, when you're used to pulling up a little bit on the back pedal, that's where just those years of riding clipless, you develop that habit. So people commented about my lack of being able to bunny hop with flat pedals. Listen, I used to bunny hop big time with BMX bikes and flat pedals. I just developed a different type of style, but I can still do it. Let's try bunny hop. That was about 6 inches high. I did compress the suspension a little bit, yes. I'd have to develop the style of not doing that at all if I was gonna continue these. And you know what? I'm not gonna come to any conclusions right now as far as if I think I will stick with these or not, because I'm gonna really give it a couple months. I'm not gonna ride them every time. If I ride some real technical stuff, like I'm gonna do probably next weekend, I may just go back to clipless until I really get used to these flat pedals. But I like the shoes, they're comfy. I can wear these with jeans when I go out after my rides. Pretty nice. So I did have to lower my seat just a little bit because the soles on these shoes are a little higher than my normal clipless pedal shoes. And by the way, I am wearing baggies. I wouldn't ride flat pedals in spandex, just in case you're wondering. Another thing I noticed is that muscle on the outside of my leg below my knee, where it comes up right up to that bone, is kind of sore. So it like, maybe I'm having to stabilize my leg more on these. And I noticed that when I rode those other flat pedals. So I wouldn't head out for a really long ride switching over to these right at first. But you know, that kind of shows that you might develop a little bit different muscle groups by riding flat pedals as opposed to clipless, because you're kind of having to stabilize a little bit better. So, you know, I think there's merit behind riding these from time to time, even if it's not your primary type of pedal. I do think it's going to make you a little bit better rider. So yeah, I'm climbing kind of a rooty section here, fairly steep, kind of a grind, and really no problems at all with the flat pedals on this type of stuff. And I noticed when I do manuals and go downhill, I'm dropping my heels back a little bit more just to be more stable on the pedals. So you do have to make some adjustments for sure. It's not a seamless carryover. Oh yeah. Something else that I noticed with these, because they stick out more than the clipless pedals, when you pedal through corners, there's a much higher likelihood of having them hit the ground. But if I ever bought my own set of flat pedals, I think these race face effects will be the ones. These feel really good. And also, I'm not wearing the shin guards yet that I bought. These trails just aren't technical to warrant. I'd look like a goofball out here with shin guards. But I'll use them on more technical stuff. They're kind of burly shin guards. They're kind of knee and shin pads. All right, to sum up my first ride on real flat pedals with the appropriate shoes, I do think it's going to take a little while to get used to these. I don't feel quite as fast and quite as in control as I did with clipless pedals, but that has a high probability of changing the more I get used to these. Also, have to concentrate more on foot placement. Climbs felt good. It's the kind of chunky stuff that takes a little getting used to. But overall, really good. Like I said, more chance of pedal strikes on turns just because they stick out more. That's something you got to be aware of. I'm looking forward to continuing this flat pedal challenge. Like I said, I'm going to give it a couple months, maybe switch back and forth a little bit between the clipless on this bike and the flats. But stay tuned and I'll keep giving my thoughts as I get more used to these. Catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.